A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the fourth year of Chiaroscuro, our annual art festival organized by Nahar International School in collaboration with the Rotary and Rotaract Club of Mumbai, Mulund South. I'm Sahil, the head boy of Nahar International School and the host for Chiaroscuro 2021. First up, I'd like to invite Ms. Praveen to begin with today's event by introducing the president of the Rotary Club.
Thank you so much, Sahil. Hi, good evening, everyone. It is my honor to present to you all the guest speaker for the evening, Rotarian Advocate Vishal Satyaprakash Saxena. He is practicing at Bombay High Court and is a member of the Supreme Court Bar Association. He specializes in criminal laws and housing society matters and property disputes. He's not only completed his LLB, but he is also a chartered accountant and has completed his postgraduate diploma in business management finance. He has a long list of professional achievements, and to name a few, he is on the panel of Maharashtra Police Training Academy, and he imparts training to the police officers from all over Maharashtra and trains them how to deal with the women complaints who are victims of sexual and other kinds of harassments. He deals with all types of criminal matters. He is also on the panel of Uttarakhand Police Training School training the police officers on gender sensitization. He appeared as a counsel in the public interest litigation in the Bombay High Court challenging the exorbitant electricity bills, and the Honorable High Court instructed the electricity companies to resolve the complaints of the consumers at the earliest. He filed and appeared in person in a public interest litigation in the Bombay High Court seeking instructions to the government of Maharashtra to restart the FYJC admissions, which was stalled due to the stay on Maratha reservations by the Supreme Court of India. The FYJC admission was started when the Bombay High Court sought a reply from the state. He is currently also a zonal coordinator for Women Empowerment Team in the Central Zone of Rotary District 3141. He has been a speaker on legal remedies for crime against women and children on various Rotary and other platforms. In one of the seminars, Rotary International President Rotarian Shekhar Mehta was also present for his speech. His hobbies include playing squash and cricket. He also writes Urdu poetry and has already published a book of his own poetry named Masoom Ki Kalam Se Bhag 1. I now request Rotarian Advocate Vishal Saxena to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you, Sonali. Thank you so much. And congrats to the team, the way the event is going on. So impressed with the way your people are organizing the event. And thank you so much, Nahar International School, for coordinating with us and Rotary Club of Mumbai Mulund South to make this event a grand success. Now, being a creative myself in a way that I also write. And Sonali, I think the participants are watching this.
Yes, it is streamed live right now to all the students who are participating, and it is on FB Live and YouTube also.
Okay. So some might be wondering that why these kind of workshops and all. See, you may be uh, having some talent. Like me, I am having a talent of writing Urdu poetries. But what if I don't know the word of some Urdu words? So somebody has to teach me. I have to learn those words. So these kind of workshops are there for you, so that you can like utilize your hidden talents. You can be made aware of what you have in you. सो दिस इज़ लाइक तराशना, आपको तराशा जा रहा है. एंड when these teachers, when these artists tells you something, teaches you something, then you know obviously कि ठीक है, हम we are going to towards abstract art, we are going towards कथक, we are going towards like इतने आर्ट्स हैं आजकल, मुझे तो आई डोंट नो इवन द नेम्स. सो इतने आर्ट फॉर्म्स हैं, यू कैन लाइक चूज एनी वन ऑफ देम. बट क्रिएटिविटी आपके अंदर है. हमारा काम जो आर्टिस्ट लोग हैं जो आपको सिखा रहे हैं, दे ओनली आर लाइक तराश रहे हैं आपको, सिर्फ आपकी कमियों को हटा रहे हैं. जैसे वो एक स्कल्पचर को तराशते हैं लोग, फिर मूर्ति उसमें से बाहर आती है, एक पूरा एक बढ़िया सी सुंदर सी बाहर आती है. देन दिस इज कॉल्ड एज तराशना. तो आपको वो तराशा जा रहा है, लाइक आपकी कमियां बाहर निकाली जा रही हैं. तो उसमें मुझे एक दो लाइन याद आ रही हैं कि शौक से निकालिए नुक्स मेरे किरदार में. नुक्स मतलब कमियां. तो शौक से निकालिए नुक्स मेरे किरदार में, आप नहीं होंगे तो मुझको तराशेगा कौन. सो दीज गुरुज आर लाइक tarashifying your talents, and you are now ready to choose, you are now free to choose which line you want to go in. एंड उसके बाद आपका हुनर बाहर निकल कर आ सकता है. नाउ कमिंग टू क्रिएटिविटी, कैसे क्रिएटिविटी, हाउ टू डेवलप इट, हाउ टू ग्रो इन विद इन योर सेल्फ. सी एज अ पर्सन, माई पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस कि आई आई रियली ट्राइड टू राइट ड्यूरिंग द पीरियड ऑफ लॉकडाउन. एंड आपको यकीन नहीं होगा कि मैं एक शेर भी नहीं लिख पाया ड्यूरिंग दीज 1.5 years. वाई? बिकॉज आई वॉज लॉक्ड इन साइड माई हाउस. सो क्रिएटिविटी तब आती है when you go out. It is my personal experience, when you go out, when you are able to move freely, then only you can be creative. Your thoughts मतलब आपके दिमाग में आते हैं. बिकॉज जब तक, एक शायर के हिसाब से बताता हूँ कि जब तक मैं बाहर नहीं निकलूँगा, आई कैंट सी द वर्ल्ड, आई कैंट सी द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ लाइफ, आई कैंट सी, ऑब्वियसली किसी अगर पर्सन पे मुझे लिखना है तो आई कांट ऑब्जर्व द पीपल. दैट्स वेयर द शायरी कम्स. सो व्हेन यू गो आउट, यू ऑब्जर्व पीपल, you take experiences of life, then your creativity grows inside you. So but I'm not saying कि आप लॉकडाउन का बिल्कुल तोड़ के you violate and then go with my words and just roam around. जो भी है गवर्नमेंट के रेगुलेशंस तो आपको मानने पड़ेंगे. बट यस, जितना भी है, जब फ्री हो जाएं आप लोग तो गो आउट, मूव फ्रीली एंड ऑब्जर्व लाइफ एज इट इज, ऑब्जर्व पीपल एज दे आर. डोंट बी जजमेंटल, जस्ट ऑब्जर्व. Observe maybe your surroundings, your natural surroundings, maybe trees even, their leaves even, their the stray dogs even. Because अभी कोई लिखता है तो वो किसी भी चीज़ पे लिख सकता है. आपने बड़े बड़े शायर देखे होंगे, किसी भी चीज़ पे लिखा है उन्होंने. बरसात पे लिखा है, सूरज पे लिखा है, चांद पे लिखा है. चांद पे तो बहुत ज़्यादा लिखा है. तो अभी आजकल सब सैड हो गए हैं, थोड़ी सैडिश शायरी बाहर आ रही है. तो हो सकता है आपके अंदर की आर्ट भी थोड़ा अफेक्ट करे लॉकडाउन पीरियड को लेकर. बट येस, वंस द लॉकडाउन इज ओवर, आई वुड सजेस्ट कि मूव आउट, मूव फ्रीली, ट्रैवल अलॉट अगर जितना आपके पास टाइम है. ऑब्जर्व, डोंट बी जजमेंटल, एंड देन यू गो आउट एंड बी क्रिएटिव. और ऐसी वर्कशॉप जो होती हैं, अगेन थैंक्स टू नार कि दीज काइंड ऑफ वर्कशॉप्स हेल्प्स यू आउट in growing your hidden talents. And thanks to all the artists present, which who were present on the day one, and now also today. I think the day is over, or yeah, is
No, no, we are just beginning our day. We have all the artists here.
okay, okay, okay. See, I am with all the artists.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. तो अभी आप सबके लिए तो मेरे पास एक ही है कि जितना हुनर आपके पास है, आई थिंक ओलिविया मस्ट बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग शायरी, और उसको बाद में हम लोग वी विल मेक हर.
We will have to translate it for her.
ओलिविया, यू कैन जस्ट क्लैप ना, शायरी अच्छी चल रही है, इट इज ऑल गुड. You can just clap. What I am saying, it's full of content and it's good. Okay, तो for those who can understand my words, तो आप सबके लिए एक शायरी बोलता हूँ कि हम तो दरिया हैं, हमें अपना हुनर मालूम है. हम तो दरिया हैं, हमें अपना हुनर मालूम है. जिस तरफ से चले जाएंगे उस तरफ से रास्ता हो जाएगा. So these kind of words only I can say for you, and thank you so much as the president of Rotary Club.
Great, sir.
As a president of Rotary Club of Mumbai Mulund South, and on behalf of Rotaract also, I welcome you all and I thank you all for such being such a guiding force. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for your inspiring words, sir. Today is the second day of this grand event. Chiaroscuro was conceived by the art department at Nahar International School with the intention to help students develop imaginative and personal responses to art, to encourage and engage in experimentation with a range of media materials and techniques. The term chiaroscuro is made up of two Italian words, chiaro, meaning light, and scuro, meaning dark. With its roots in the Renaissance, it is a technique of artistic expression representing an interplay between light and shadow. The perception of the term has evolved over the centuries, but the impact chiaroscuro creates on canvas and on the stage remains unmatched. Over these 2 days, our endeavor has been to recreate artistic magic in performing and fine arts. Now, let me just briefly take you through what the first day of Chiaroscuro looked like. The event was opened by our principal, Vandana ma'am, who heartened us all with her words. Then there was a series of spectacular dance performances organized by the dance and movement team of Nahar International School to keep the guests entertained. Following that, there was an engrossing panel discussion that saw the artists answer questions about art and their work. These same artists further went on to host engaging workshops for their participants. First up, we had Mr. Prakash Joshi, who taught us how to sketch and color traditional fudge figures. Then, in Mr. Snehal Khedkar's workshop, we attempted to understand nuances of sensory and emotional experiences generated through art. There was also a workshop on abstract art conducted by Mr. Abhishek Panchal and shadow theatre conducted by Mr. Prasad Dagre. Additionally, we had a workshop on cutting-edge contemporary Kathak conducted by Mr. Pankaj Sihag. Last but not the least, we had a special macrame workshop by Ms. Shalini Mittal. This was for the teachers of all participating schools as a tribute to them for Teachers' Day. Yesterday's chief guest, Dr. Rajendra Agarwal, then closed the session with an encouraging speech. With that being said, we are glad to welcome you all to day 2. Today's opening act is a special performance by the team of dance and movement facilitators at Nahar International School. The underlying message is to pay homage to the various art forms to be showcased over these 2 days. For the first time, Chiaroscuro extends its reach beyond the visual arts to now explore the performing arts of dance and theatre as well. This opening act is a journey through these art forms. The first performance, titled The Little Magic Ball, is a one-man mime act and performed by Mr. Tanuj Barot. Wow, that was great. Next, we have a music piece by my fellow NIS students Aditi and Leroy.
Her eyes and words are so icy, oh, but she burns like rum on a fire. Hot and fast and angry as she can be, I walk my days on a wire. It looks ugly, but it's clear. Oh, mama, don't fuss over me. The way she tells me I'm hers and she's mine. Open hand or closed fist would be fine. The blood is rare and sweet as cherry wine. Cause of guilty thrown at me, oh, while she stains the sheets of some other. Thrown at me so powerfully, just like she throws with the arm of her brother. But I want it. It's a crime that she's not around most of the time. The way she shows me I'm hers and she's mine. Open hand or closed fist would be fine. The blood is red and sweet as cherry wine.
That was fantastic. Our final performance is yet another delight by Ms. Shruti Maria Dattar and Mr. Vinayak Ghoshal, dance and movement facilitators at Nahar International School. This piece, titled Moving Frames, is an abstract contemporary dance piece inspired by abstract art. This one may be familiar to those of you who were with us yesterday. Those performances were mesmerizing. Thank you so much to the team of Dance and Movement for putting that together for us. I would now like to introduce to you our esteemed artists for today. Soon, you will see them in a panel discussion, and subsequently, they will be conducting workshop sessions for our students. We are truly honored to have with us a lineup of extremely talented, renowned, and truly scintillating artists from India and abroad. I am going to give a brief introduction about them and about the day ahead. First up, we have Mr. Tarun and Ms. Pooja, who will be conducting a design thinking workshop. Along with that, we have Mr. Shardul Kadam conducting the workshop Searching Abstraction in Landscape Painting. Joining us all the way from Australia today is Miss Olivia. She will be hosting a workshop on contemporary dance. We also have Ms. Shruti Mishra, who will be introducing to you the world of clowning. Let us welcome all of our esteemed panelists for our discussion today. This session will be moderated by Isha Saxena. The other participants of our panel discussion are budding artists of grade 11, Tanisha, Kritika, Sia, and Dia. Coordinating the panel discussion is Ms. Jui Damle. With this discussion, we hope to give all the students an opportunity to get to know the immensely talented artists on the panel and interact with them. Over to Isha.
Good evening, everyone, artists, teachers, and students. I hope all of you are having a wonderful evening. It's my pleasure to have gotten the opportunity to interact with everyone present here. I am extremely grateful for this and looking forward to the discussion we're going to have. Also, just to add, I'm pretty sure our students are going to be having a lot of questions for the artists present here. So there's a small request to the students to post their questions in the chat box. And we would love to begin our discussion with Miss Olivia. Sia, please take ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, my question is, what inspired you to become a dancer?
Oh, I first started, I think, because my dad was a dancer. So I'd always sort of known about dance, but he was a ballroom dancer, and he'd gotten injured and he'd stopped dancing. And I used to hear that he would dance when I was a kid, but I never saw him dance. And I thought it was so sad, and it was something I really wanted to learn. But he didn't want to be a dance parent and force me into it. So he wanted to wait till I begged and begged and begged to be enrolled in ballet. And after, I think I was about 6 years old, I was watching lots of movies like the musical Grease, and I would sing and dance along with all the people on the movie. And finally he gave in and said I could do ballet, and I'm so grateful.
That's a very interesting, experience, I would say. I have another question. As many of us don't exactly know what site-specific dance is, could you give us a brief description on what it is exactly?
Yeah, I mean, I think site-specific dance is different for different dance companies or different dancers. They have a different view of it. But for the company that I work for, we the site is very important to us in inspiring us. But we usually start our work with an idea, and then we choose a site that matches the idea. Some people would choose a site first, and then their ideas would come from. But we start with an idea and then we match it with a site. And when we go to the site, the sounds, the views, the feelings, the sensations, that all inspires our movement and our creativity.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Miss Olivia. I too have a very unique bond with my dad. I feel I bond really, really well with him. And the fact that you mentioned in the beginning already set the pace of this discussion. So our next question is going to be for Shardul sir. Kritika, all yours.
Good evening. So, we are curious to know what inspired you to become an artist. Was it the exposure from your family, or there were other factors as well?
Yeah, my dad was the artist. He was a visual painter. He was a portrait painter, Dean Sir J. School of Art, and mom is also a gold medalist from Sir J. School of Art. So she is also senior painter in India. So I brought up with looking at these great people's artworks at home, and then decided to go to Sir J.J. School of Art and entered there in 2000. And I had my education in art, and then I tried to find out some more in my way how to create my personal style or personal method to express myself through my paintings. So basically, it was in my home only to do an art and to do paintings from childhood. I used to visit art galleries with my parents. So there I was attracted towards the visual art.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. So I understand that you have explored a lot of mediums over the years. We would like to know which medium you connect with the most out of all the mediums that you have
Yeah,
tried.
it's very funny that I explored oil paintings, I explored acrylic colors in my college days, and I never used dry pastels in my college day of about 6 years. 6 years, I never looked towards dry pastels, and at the time of coming out from the college days, like passing out from MFA from Sir J. School of Art, I accidentally uh, looked up about the beauty of dry pastels when some my friends were doing the dry pastels in the college. So they asked me, "Oh, can you tell us what should be done in this painting?" I told I have not used dry pastel any time. So I decided to use the dry pastels, and afterwards now 12, 13, 14 years I am doing many artworks. I have done many artworks in dry pastel mediums. As a dry pastel is very flexible medium, it is very fast, spontaneous, and we get different results and the spontaneous results in our painting. So I mostly prefer the dry pastels. Also, there is one possibility or positivity that I found, or my works are basically line oriented, drawing oriented works. So I am very fascinated to express myself through those lines, and I it is convenient for me to use dry pastels. And nowadays I am using oil bars or oil sticks from Senelier and Winston Newton or Shiva from US. So I'm transforming the results of dry pastels in oils. So that is going on. Let's see how it succeeds.
Thank you. So, expression through lines is something I'm hearing for the first time because I've always heard art is self expression, dancing is self expression. And the fact how you explored dry pastels, I feel that really resonates to me because me too in my art and design years, just exploration of media is, I think, one of my favorite things to do. Thank you, sir, for a detailed response. Our next
Yeah.
question I would love to ask to Shruti, ma'am. Dia, all yours.
Good evening, ma'am. So, growing up, I thought that you needed to be, nonsensical in your clowning in order to be funny. But then a couple of years back, I did this workshop which completely changed my viewpoint. So, my question to you was, how does people's perception of, clowning as a slapstick or a nonsensical form of expression contradict the true nature of the art itself?
So the world of clowning is based on a lot of it is just being inside your own stupidity, your own nonsense. So I'm not going to say that it contradicts in any way. But when we are inside our personal folly, our personal faults, our personal stupidity, our personal nonsense, you're there and then you take it to a point where it turns into poetry. So from starting from a very personal point, You take it, you explore it, and then it becomes poetry, and it's not personal anymore. Though it is still personal because it starts from you, right? So I wouldn't say that it contradicts. Slapstick is a big part of clowning. Slapsticks becomes a big part of acts, clown acts. They're based on slapstick, Charlie Chaplin, Mr. Bean. And so it does not contradict. Clowning does have, and that's the aim of the art, actually, to explore your stupidity and find poetry and entertain. And comedy, your personal physical comedy, is a big part of your own nonsense. So I wouldn't say it contradicts. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Poetry is my personal favorite form of self-expression. Poetry and your own personal stupidity. This is a very, very well articulated answer to describe your form. Thank you so much.
Thank
I would
you.
like to ask the next question to Pooja ma'am and Tarun sir. So I'll request Dia to go ahead with it.
Good evening, ma'am. So my question to you was, uh, science and design technology are very scientific and structured in nature, right? So do you feel that there is a scope for it to be unstructured and abstract in the creation or ideation?
Hi, good evening. Happy Teachers' Day to everyone. Yes, so it's a well articulated question. So, what happens is we feel that there are two parts that should fit perfectly. One is art, and the other is science. But it goes hand in hand. It's like yin and yang, one cannot exist without the other. So, I'll just run you through an example where abstraction is at every point through the example of a architectural marvel, which is called the Modhera Sun Temple in Gujarat. It was built some 800,000 years back, and we had a beautiful chance to visit it often. And when we went second and third time and the fourth time, we started interpreting the other, expressions that the architecture of that place gives. So one, it has established science and technology behind it because it's designed such that on the day of equinox, the sun rays will directly, reach the feet of the deity's idol, which is far inside the temple complex. So that is your science part. But there are many more examples of abstraction there. So when you enter the premise, there are three parts of the temple complex. First, there is a water kund. Water kund means a water tank. It's a symbol of washing away your vices, washing away your ill desires and things. Once you do that, there is a huge flight of stairs that takes you towards the pavilion. That is a symbol of giving away the material world. That is a symbol of a stairway to heaven, if you want to think that way. You are greeted by a beautifully carved frame, which we call torana in our culture. So that torana is like a welcoming gesture. You are felt welcome. You start your journey. You start living your worldly thought process, your baggages, and you are slowly transcending into the space where spirituality dominates. The next part of the temple complex is called the Gudha Mandapa. It's the prayer hall. It's slightly community in nature, wherein people from all the parts can come. They offer their services and prayers, but suddenly you will feel a change in architecture. The angles at which the walls are, they're slightly high. They suddenly start making you feel that you are going from whole to part. They obstruct your vision intentionally. They want you to keep your focus in that space. As you move forward, you enter the last part of the temple, which is called the main temple, in which again there are two parts. So the sunlight, the exposure to light, this exposure to sound around, and the space in which you can be gradually reduces. Once you enter the final step of the temple, you feel that there is hardly any light there, although it's a sun temple. So understand the beauty of abstraction here. We are talking about leaving away everything when you and finding oneness when you enter that space. So that sacred space is allowing you to feel yourself, think within, and not think outside. So when you are walking, you hear other people. As dhire dhire slowly you move inside the space, all the sounds start fading, all the smells of the flowers, the incense sticks starts fading. And when the final deity, the idol, which is placed in our culture, we called it the garbha griha. It's the womb, like a womb in a woman's body. So we place that much importance to our deities, and we say the idol is placed in the womb, and that is a place of ultimate connection. So the abstraction is life starts and ends in full circle. You start your life in the womb, you come back, and you have all the worldly pleasures, you leave them aside step by step, you get a chance to transcend, and then when you enter the final spot is when you realize the oneness. And it's also a beautiful example of something that we believe in our Hindu in Indian culture, which is Atman and Brahman. Atman means inside, within me, without the body, the soul of me. And Brahman means the whole of the universe. So there are so many abstract interpretations of this single piece of architecture that I'm just sharing, is that it's not just the design and technology. Just imagine how would they have calculated the sun rays, falling on an equinox day. Or just imagine why they are deciding to put the plinth or the staircase at a certain height. Why they are designing the Garbhagriha in such a way that there is artificially no light, even though it is out in the open. So this is the science part. But when you marry it with abstraction, when you marry it with metaphysical interpretations, you get marvels. So I hope it really helps expand and think beyond what we see. In architecture, there is this beautiful line that we keep on saying, that see beyond. Architecture cannot be limited, or design cannot be limited with what you see. It starts with the point that you start engaging with it by smells, by hearing, by touch, by being there, by feeling either cramped, by being feeling either free. So these are the ways in which abstraction marries design and technology.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a really appreciated
Very
detailed
nice, madam.
response.
Thank you. Very nice.
And I think it must help Miss Olivia, who's not from India, to understand much more. Also, I loved how science, two different disciplines like science and design and technology integrated within each other. This was wow. Also, I personally have another question for Shruti ma'am. So, Shruti ma'am, I would like to know that it's a question on human folly. Is it true that human folly or tragedy is the source of clowning? So, does clowning stand as a metaphor of pathos of the human society?
So here's something. In our Vedas and the Natya Shastra, the very scripture of art, is something called. So I'm sure that every students and all of us in life must have touched upon dance and then expression, and then in Hindi, in Sanskrit, expression is rasa. So the rasa theory, so to speak, is that the central emotion comes to its fullness, to its complete form, only in the presence of an opposite emotion, mood. So the opposite emotion, mood, or even a character carrying an opposite emotion to the central emotion of the hero, so to speak. It's only completed because of the presence of an opposite emotion. Because the main emotion remaining by itself is incomplete if the opposite does not provoke it so that it becomes complete. Same thing about light and shadow and all the different emotions that exist together are very symbol of theater. The two masks, the happy mask and the sad mask. So starting with that, and the reason I mention is that the whole thing about the clown's tragedy is brought. If I made it very personal about my tragedy, I would be indulging, and you'd be forced to watch me cry or be in tragedy because I'm not sharing it with you. And the moment I start sharing my tragedy to a point where it becomes poetry and I reach on the other side of tragedy, which is comedy. And clowning is a medium to reach there. You have tools and skill set, and all the uh, training that you get is so that you can go deep into your tragedy and chance upon and come to comedy. Having said that, it is not always necessarily the starting point for a clown character or for clowning to happen. It's not the starting point.
Yes, ma'am. I
Any
noticed.
other emotion can be a starting point as well. It could just be laughter, incessant laughter,
Right. I
which
loved how
is
you
annoying.
definitely. I loved how you included so many emotions because this question was very personalized. Because being a psychology student, I really had to know how emotions play a part. Over here. Thank you, ma'am. Also, the students have a lot of questions, and one of those questions are imposed to Miss Olivia. So this is one of the questions we have for you by a student. So what medium of performance excites you more? The stage or performing in like an outdoor space?
Definitely an outdoor space. The stage to me is sort of this space that's reserved almost for like the elite, and I like to sort of break that and perform in places that bring dance to the public, that they don't have to spend a lot of money and go and buy a ticket and go sit down in a nice comfortable chair and watch a show, that they could be in the city and suddenly see a pop-up dance performance, or be in a beautiful garden or nature reserve and get to see a show, but also enjoying all the surroundings that are natural around them. I think it's so much more interesting than a space that has to be built to life with, theatre crew. They have to do the lights, they have to do this and that. It's all very man-made, where sometimes you've got the sun, and that is just the most beautiful natural lighting element you could find. And site-specific sort of performance, I think that's super exciting to me.
Thank you, ma'am. I kind of anticipated that answer because we all love the outdoors, but thank you so much for that answer. So
You're welcome.
our next question is going to be to Shardul sir. This is the question one of the students again have for you. So since we all know
Okay.
that abstraction came into the chat to challenge the common perception of understanding art itself, right? So do you agree that abstraction completely transformed the conception and definition of landscape painting?
See, uh, the abstraction, as Pooja madam said, the abstraction is everywhere. In everything, every artwork or every object or every scenario, there is an abstraction. When the common people says that we don't understand the abstraction in any artwork, so it is their illiteracy or their ignorance about their elements which are present in any visual. Because there is one example I found, because my sister-in-law, she is a doctor, a well-known doctor, radiologist, and she called once to my wife and said, "Oh, we are in Matheran, and we I saw a beautiful sunset in Matheran." So my wife said, "Oh, that we every day we see the sunset and every day we enjoy the colors." She was saying, "Oh, I saw many colors in sunset. So do you know there are very many nice colors in the sunset?" But my wife said, "Yes, I see every time when I am going from auto or taxi or from walking from the street. We see the colors from sunset, and those are the inspirations of our painting." So that time she told her, oh, that's why I was not able to see your paintings, because I was saying that these are abstract and I can't understand what are they. And oh, your inspirations are from nature, so I am able to see the colors from nature and the various things from nature. So in our society, it's a problem that we don't enjoy the colors, we don't enjoy the forms, we don't enjoy the different creatures. Our perception is only for our usage. That's why we are detached from the word abstraction. Otherwise, the abstraction is nothing but our way of life. If we detach our purpose or practical things or utility purpose, it is all the abstraction. When we see the Mark Rothko's works, many people say we can't understand what is it, but just see the orange, just see the reds, just see the big space of his big canvases when we saw it at Tate Modern in London. So it was a wonderful experience to see the colors, enjoy the colors. What we see in the nature, we see at any rock or sky or anything. So that is an abstraction. So society and the general public or the common people should know that in when we my mom gives an example of tomato in the market. When we go to the market, we see the tomatoes or fruits, they are red in enough. But at the time of buying it, we see that if the tomato is red in color, it will be sweet or it will be proper to eat. But we don't enjoy the colors of tomato. But artist or an abstract artist, so-called abstract artist, there it comes a difference. The artist as a visual art, he enjoys the colors first and then he eats. So this is something we have to learn to use the abstraction or the meditation. It's more than the abstraction is essential for our life. To it should be will be better if we use this sense of abstraction in our regular life.
Yes, thank you. Your answer really resonates to me because personally, in my art and design portfolio, I'm sure Shalak